Now at 5, another record hot day in Utah.
I'm tracking dangerous heat here across the region as high pressure builds. So how long will this heat wave last? Your forecast is coming up.
The heat can really adversely affect your health.
Another scorching hot week. We'll show you what's being done to help Utah's most vulnerable population.
I'm trying to do my part and set the example.
Lawns, swimming pools, golf courses. The city of St. George is scrutinizing everything in Utah's drought emergency.
Salt Lake City's uncovering a hidden treasure inside its newest park.
It has so many people across the state of Utah worried. Low reservoir levels in our state reservoirs. We'll talk about the issue, plus what could be done to fix it, coming up.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13's Live at 5 starts right now.
First at 5, intense sunshine all over Utah and another day of record high temperatures. And the heat wave is causing all kinds of challenges.
Meteorologist Allison Krogan joining us now. Allison, this really is a statewide weather event.
Yes, absolutely. We have heat warnings for almost all of Utah. New this hour, we just hit 104 here in Salt Lake, which beats the old record of 103 for today. And a normal high for those of you keeping track at home, 92 degrees. So we are well above average record temperatures right now here in Salt Lake City at 104, 103 up in Ogden, 101 for Brigham City, 99 for Logan, Tooele, Delta, Wendover, Provo, all close to 100 degrees. Even up in the mountains right now, Heber 97 currently, 111 for St. George, 100 for Kanab, close to 105 for Hanksville, 95 for Price. We have heat warnings for everything highlighted in purple. These will be for northern Utah until Thursday night. And then for southern Utah, the heat warnings will continue through the upcoming weekend. We also have heat advisories for eastern Utah. So Green River down through Moab into Blanding, heat advisories through Friday night. And then we also have heat advisories for the mountains. So Park City over towards Camas down through Heber and Daniel will have the heat advisories through Thursday night. Plus, we head into Thursday and Friday. We have major fire concerns here across Utah. Coming up this hour, I'm tracking Tropical Storm Elsa. I'm tracking our heat here across the west and how long this heat wave will last coming up.
I think we need to put a stronger emphasis on not only, helping people when it's cold, but also when it's hot.
Local nonprofits are stepping up to help people to stay safe in the extreme heat, especially people experiencing homelessness.
Fox 13's Sydney Glenn tagged along with an outreach team in Ogden today as they handed out water and food. She joins us live from Ogden. Sydney.
Bob and Kelly, people with the nonprofit Youth Futures here in Ogden were out in parks like this one all day long trying to help people cool off, offering up extra bottles of water, but they say it's just not enough to deal with these high temperatures.
In a big blue van, people like Glenn Brainerd
Yeah, no problem, man.
hand out a little hope.
On a day like today, it is especially important that you get your water.
We're very thankful for that because when we're just here alone and when the heat.
Melissa Brewster has been homeless for 2 months now.
It's extremely hard.
Especially in the heat.
You gotta focus on just keeping yourself in the shade, focus on drinking water.
And we go through water like crazy because it is so hot.
Brainerd says they do what they can handing out water and food, but he admits it's not enough.
Yeah, no problem. We're giving people 2 or 3 waters, but even then, when it's especially hot, you can run through that in an instant and then you're out of water and you're going to get dehydrated.
Some homeless shelters in the area offer up cooling centers when those temperatures are high enough.
You have to hope that, the cooling centers are open and for long enough that you can actually stay cool and stay safe.
Brewster and Brainerd have watched the heat take its toll.
Mama's trying to keep their babies in the shade because they're crying because it's too hot.
I, definitely see people who are experiencing probably the early signs of, heat exhaustion or heat stroke. There are a lot of people that you'll find just passed out somewhere.
Each water bottle helps.
Stay cool.
This vulnerable population.
Yeah, you can get 2 waters.
During the heat wave. But Brainerd says more needs to be done.
We're experiencing, much larger shifts in weather that we need to be more prepared for it on a higher level instead of just local organizations scrambling to piece something together and doing the best that they can.
A spokesperson for the city of Ogden says the city nor Weber County have ever activated a cooling shelter for the general population because they say they've just really never needed to. Now that could change. They are discussing some options of making cooling centers in some city-owned property. Of course, we're going to keep you posted if that does end up happening. There are other cooling centers across the state. We do have more information on fox13now.com. Live in Ogden, Sydney Glenn, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Sydney, thank you. The CDC did look into how cooling centers can help prevent heat-related illnesses. They found they can actually save lives. They say spending even a few hours in a cool environment reduces the risk to vulnerable people, and those who regularly visit a cool place during a heat wave are less likely to suffer from heat wave mortality.
The homeless are not the only ones struggling in the heat right now. Some Utahns with housing may not be able to afford running their air conditioning. That's why Rocky Mountain Power has programs for people who need a little more time to pay that bill. There are also things you can do to keep your house cooler.
We suggest to people, when you use your microwave, or if you're cooking, or if you're doing your laundry, do those things at night when it's cooler outside. You won't make it necessarily so warm in your home.
There are both local and federal resources available to help you pay your bills. To access Rocky Mountain Power's payment assistance programs, go to fox13now.com.
Today, the city of Lehigh is confirming recent power outages have been caused by excessive heat. A Lehigh resident posted on Facebook that her power has gone out at the same time for the past 2 days before coming back on again. City leaders responded to the post saying, quote, as a protection to our system, momentary outages occur when equipment failure happens. The high heat over the past week, coupled with the high nighttime temperatures, are not allowing equipment to cool down and have resulted in some equipment failures.
The St. George area is booming and it's straining precious water resources.
And now city leaders are starting to look at their own policies. As Ben Winslow reports, some changes will be big.
In Utah's ongoing drought emergency, the city of St. George is scrutinizing its ordinances and policies with an eye toward water savings.
So this is my backyard.
St. George Mayor Michelle Randall has cut her lawn watering to the recommended 3 times a week in southern Utah.
I'm trying to do my part and set the example.
St. George is revisiting how it uses water.
As a city, we're identifying acres and acres of turf that we're going to be removing.
The mayor and city council are looking at ordinances with an eye toward water wasting.
We're lush. We have a lot of grass down here that we're starting to rethink and say, if you only use it to mow it, then let it go.
It includes any policies that require turf or certain water wasting trees, revisiting water features, even pushing residents to make changes like covering swimming pools to avoid evaporation, secondary homes where people are watering a lawn they're not even there for. Even the city's famed golf courses have made changes with an eye toward water savings.
You've got a lot of churches with lots and lots of lush grass that nobody ever even steps on. It would be nice to see them start replacing that with xeriscape.
One idea being considered to get Washington County residents to change their outdoor water use: pay them for their turf.
When a lot of these landscape ordinances were passed, the goal was you want to keep the community look, vibrant and look, well maintained.
The Washington County Water Conservancy District is exploring the idea of a turf buyback program. The district's general manager says some people want to go to drought-friendly landscaping, but it gets expensive.
It's just more of helping to incentivize to maybe get them going.
It doesn't mean the entire community kills its lawns.
Instead of having a lot of grass, maybe you only have like 10% of your front lawn or yard be grass. And so you still have a place where the neighbors can congregate and kind of stand and have that fill, but yet the whole entire front yard is not grass.
Now, the Washington County Water Conservancy District says any turf buyback program depends on funding, but they're hoping to be able to launch it next year. The district also offers a number of ways that people can convert their lawns to more drought-friendly landscaping. We've got a link at fox13now.com. In Salt Lake City, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Utah's water emergency is having a drastic impact on our reservoirs and the Colorado River itself. We will go in depth on those stories in team coverage today at 5:30.
With COVID numbers going back up, Utah hospitals are worried about the Delta variant. what's frustrating doctors the most. Next.
And how this mess was made at a Little Caesars pizza shop in Sandy. Details straight ahead. Doctors from Intermountain Healthcare, University of Utah Health, as well as Mountain Star Healthcare and other local hospital systems are pleading once again with people who have not been vaccinated to rethink their decision.
June was an especially difficult month, vaulting Utah to number 6 in the nation for new COVID cases. We now have 8 new cases per 100,000 people. Unvaccinated Utahns are getting sick with the Delta variant at 6 times the rate of those who have been vaccinated. And it's affecting younger people, mainly between the ages of 25 and 44, along with those 45 to 64 years old.
The frustrating part about all of this is that unlike last year, we have all the tools to stop this pandemic in its tracks. The COVID-19 vaccines work, but we frankly just need more people to be vaccinated. The highly transmissible nature of the Delta variant has changed the game, and we're clearly seeing this surge related to our unvaccinated populations.
Local medical leaders say this uptick in COVID cases is affecting nurses and other emergency medical personnel who are also dealing with the annual rush of summertime injuries.
Meantime, 394 new COVID cases are being reported today. 2 more Utahns lost their lives to the virus. Our 7-day positivity rate continues to climb. It is now 11.8%. On the vaccination front, more than 3,600 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine have been administered since yesterday's report. More than 3,000 additional Utahns are now considered fully vaccinated.
President Biden hits the road to sell his infrastructure plan, what it covers, and how Republicans are responding. Still to come.
And we've got you. When you can't watch Fox 13 News live, you can always watch us streaming online for free. Find us on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. Just search Fox 13 on your device. We'll be right back.
This is the storm path of tropical storm Elsa, which is right now over Brunswick, Georgia, in southern Georgia. That's the projected path that it will take into South Carolina and then North Carolina and further up the eastern seaboard. Of course, we are going to keep our eye on this throughout the evening and the coming days.
Right now, tens of thousands of people are without power. Although Elsa is over land right now, the storm is predicted to pack a punch as it moves up the eastern seaboard, as Bob just explained, over the next several days.
Camilla Burnell has more.
With maximum sustained winds of 65 miles per hour, Tropical Storm Elsa made landfall Wednesday morning.
Tropical storms, if they're slow moving, can flood worse than some fast moving ones.
The storm not scaring away some tourists to the Sunshine State.
It's still a vacation.
Elsa reached peak strength as a Category 1 hurricane Tuesday, but weakened before coming ashore. Still, authorities warn the storm can be dangerous.
Tornadoes, of course, are a continued concern, and they will be possible across northeast Florida.
We could have flooding, surf that people shouldn't be in out at our beaches.
Florida's North Gulf Coast experiencing heavy rain and power outages.
We have more than 10,000 restoration personnel prepared to respond to these outages as soon as it's safe to do so.
And now, as Elsa moves inland, more wind damage and flooding also possible.
We don't want people to get overconfident, be out in their cars and potentially driving into flooding. You could have down power lines with wind. There's a whole lot of possibilities that could happen in these storms.
Elsa impacting northern Florida, parts of Georgia, and the Carolinas. It's expected to continue along the mid-Atlantic coast and maybe even re-strengthen into a tropical storm in the northeast by Friday morning.
Our thoughts and prayers are with those that are currently experiencing the storm right now.
I'm Camila Burnell reporting.
Almost 2 weeks after that devastating condo collapse, the search in Surfside, Florida has shifted from a rescue mission to now a recovery operation. 10 more bodies were recovered from the rubble overnight, bringing the official death toll now to 46, with 99 people still unaccounted for.
Community and the world are grieving.
with all of the families who are living through this unthinkable tragedy.
Workers had hoped to find new voids or pockets where survivors could potentially be found after what was left of the condo was demolished over the weekend. But at this point, crews say they have not detected any signs of life.
President Biden was in Illinois today, drumming up support for the American Families Plan. The measure includes funding for improving roads, bridges, and Wi-Fi, but also what the president calls human infrastructure, issues like climate change, child care, and promoting women in the workforce.
To truly build an economy from the bottom up and the middle out, to truly deal everybody in this time, we need to invest in our people.
The bill should be up or down voted based on its own merits, no strings attached.
Republicans are calling for a plan with a lower price tag that only focuses on standard infrastructure projects. Things could move quickly in the coming weeks. The Senate Majority Leader says he wants both of these bills taken up this month.
New air quality and fire monitoring data backs it up. Utahns largely skipped personal fireworks on the 4th of July.
The Utah Division of Forestry, Fire, and State Land says it recorded only 46 human-caused fires from June 28th to July 4th. That's compared to 88 during the same period last year. But take a look at this chart here. It's provided to Fox 13 News from the Department of Environmental Quality. It's air pollution data from the Wasatch Front on July 4th, the actual holiday. Take a look at the 2020 numbers and then look at this year. In Salt Lake County alone, the PM 2.5 levels, well, they dropped dramatically. State officials attribute it to skipping personal fireworks during the drought emergency.
I'm not sure how future years or future holidays will respond, but certainly this year we can see the impacts of the awareness of being careful with fire and, of course, reducing the exposure to air pollution.
The Department of Air Quality reminds you to pay attention to high ozone days that are certainly on the way this summer and to drive less if you can.
Boy, we are dealing with difficulties here with the drought, with the high temperatures and everything that goes along with it.
Not enough rain.
But you know what? I got a little sprinkle on my windshield today.
Well, that's about all we have as far as the rain. Up towards the Idaho border, we do have a few cells that are producing some more moderate rainfall, but very short-lived cells. The main story over the next couple of days will be the heat. Right now it's 104. You are witnessing history on this day. 103 is our record high for today, so we have set a new record with our wind now out of the northwest, about 5 to 10 miles per hour. It is so hot, though, here across northern Utah. It's even hot up in Park City at 93 degrees right now, 102 in Farmington, 103 for Ogden, 100 in Tooele right now, and for southwestern Utah, Cedar City 96, Milford 101, Delta 100, St. George at 111. Vernal and Price both in the mid-90s. Compared to this time 24 hours ago, it's a little bit warmer out there. The biggest difference that we're seeing right now is here along the Wasatch Front, especially in Salt Lake and Utah counties, and Elko. 12 degrees hotter than this time 24 hours ago. So Bobby Wright, a few sprinkles across northern Utah and especially up near the Idaho border. But the main story over the next few days will be the heat. We're going to have mostly sunny sky, especially in the mornings. A few clouds developing during the afternoons, along with a few sprinkles possible. And then, as we've been saying, we're tracking Tropical Storm Elsa as it continues to impact Florida and now Georgia up along the southeastern part of the country. So that'll continue over the next couple of days to move towards the northeast. Back here in Utah, a very colorful map for today. Excessive heat warnings in purple, so much of the state, Wellington down through St. George over towards Lake Powell. Excessive heat warnings will be in place until Sunday at 9 p.m. For northern Utah, we have an excessive heat warning in place today through tomorrow night. Tomorrow will likely be a degree or two hotter here in Salt Lake City. And then over the next couple of days, red flag warnings will be starting for tomorrow, and that'll be for the mountains for Thursday and Friday. Top headlines, the extended area of the heat warnings, record heat this week, and the fire concerns Thursday into Friday. Now, when you wake up tomorrow morning, it'll be in the mid-70s, into the 80s by 8 a.m., and then into the 90s by lunchtime tomorrow, with tomorrow's high around 105. So first thing tomorrow morning, this is when you have to get outside. All the neighbors will be outside as well. So 6 a.m., a nice topic to talk about. Everyone's going to be saying, oh my goodness, it's already hot, and it's going to be even hotter tomorrow afternoon. So St. George, you're close to 110 to 115. Through much of the 7-day forecast, we're going to keep this heat close to 100 degrees through next week. And for the Wasatch Front, close to 105 through much of the 5-day forecast. And then we're going to be still in the hundreds or close to it next week.
Today we traveled around northern Utah to get a bird's eye view of the problem of low reservoir water levels. You'll see some of the stark pictures coming up.
It's been more than a year since a Mill Creek mother was shot and killed in her car.
She was the sweetest lady, and to have something happen so violent and horrible, it doesn't make sense.
Now, 2 people have been charged with her murder. We have reaction from the victim's daughter.
And can Real Salt Lake end their 3-match losing streak to Vancouver? The Fox 13 sports team gets us up to speed ahead of tonight's match. There is an update on the job market, and it suggests there was little change in late May.
The job openings and labor turnover survey is released a month later than other reports. It found 9.2 million job openings in late May. Hires were little changed at 5.9 million. Fewer people were getting laid off or quitting. The separations rate decreased to 5.3 million.
Bloomberg's Billionaire Index indicates one of the richest men in the world is getting even richer. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos' net worth increased by $8.4 billion today to about $211 billion. Amazon stock rose after closing at an all-time high, its first record close since September. Bezos stepped down on Monday as the company's CEO, but remains the company's biggest shareholder as well as executive chairman.
Wow, incredible. Remember when Amazon just sold books?
Yeah,
I
remember that. I remember that.
A Taco Bell has an offer for NBA fans. Is that you? All right, listen up. If a team is behind at halftime in the NBA Finals, but comes back and is able to win the game, the company will give away a free taco to everyone in America.
I'm in.
So am I. Also, here, the deal gets better. It's not just a regular taco. The fast food chain is giving away free Doritos Locos tacos.
Oh, yeah.
Good. Taco Bell says the date of the free giveaway will be announced if a team is able to win under the right circumstances. Taco Bell also gave away free tacos during the 2020 World Series.
U.S. stocks rose today as traders weighed questions on the economy and looked for hints to the Federal Reserve's next moves. In the minutes of its most recent meeting, the Dow added 104 points to close at 34,682. The Nasdaq hit a new record, gaining more than a point, and the S&P added 15.
On the Colorado River, they are poised to make a declaration that has never happened in its history. That's coming up.
Now, charges were filed in the murder of a woman in Mill Creek over a year later, what investigators took to solve the case.
The family of a murdered woman is thanking detectives today for helping charge 2 suspects in the case.
The woman was killed last year in Mill Creek. Linda Nemelka's daughters tell Fox 13's Haley Higgins they thought the case would never be solved.
Haley is live at Unified Police Headquarters this evening. Haley.
Yeah, Linda's children say they were very surprised by the charges that were filed today, almost a year and a half after their mother was shot and killed. She was sitting inside of her car out front of a friend's house in Mill Creek back in March of 2020. Now, investigators say the killing of the 57-year-old mother was random on March 11th of 2020. Charging documents accused 24-year-old James Brunson and 23-year-old Anika Thorpe of attempting to rob Linda when it, quote, went bad. She was found in a running vehicle with gunshot wounds to her chest and leg. The pair were arrested for different crimes after the killing.
Finding out that they've been in jail this whole time and not inflicting things like this on other families was incredibly comforting. It really was. And so that was definitely, at least personally, part of my own closure.
Now, both suspects were on parole at the time that Linda was killed. Now, this was considered a cold case by Linda's family. How investigators say they were able to piece it together. We'll have that coming up on Fox 13 News at 9. Reporting live in South Salt Lake, Haley Higgins, Fox 13 News, Utah.
The Utah Attorney General's office has just filed a lawsuit against Google, accusing it of antitrust activities when it comes to phone apps and payments.
Now, Bob, it basically accuses Google of locking in app makers to using its systems and then taking as much as a 30% cut from them on any in-app transactions. The Attorney General says that cost was passed on to consumers, and altogether he alleges that could be billions of dollars that people paid more than they should have for things within the app. He says Google is so big, it's a monopoly.
Google is, in my mind, kind of like Godzilla in terms of size. And even when Godzilla is trying to save Tokyo or New York, Godzilla may not even realize that he's squashing some cars and smashing some buildings along the way. Just the pure size will inevitably cause damage.
36 other states are joining Utah in the lawsuit, including New York, North Carolina, and Tennessee, which have been investigating the tech giant alongside Utah.
Now to Utah's ongoing water crisis. This afternoon, the Skyfox drone captured new video showing just how low water levels have fallen at some of our reservoirs.
We have team coverage for you right now. Max Roth will go in depth on the impact of the drought on the Colorado River. But we start with Spencer Joseph at Rockport Reservoir.
These reservoirs in the state of Utah have seen these water levels in the past, but usually around October. And with it only being the beginning of July, this has a lot of people nervous. It's a sad sight to see.
So these are pretty concerning, seeing how early in the season we are.
Rockport Reservoir's water level is slowly slipping away.
I've seen it get full, then we drain really fast. But where Rockport only got to 66%, Echo only got to like 62%.
This is Eric Bradshaw, who manages both Rockport and Echo Reservoir State Parks. And in the time he's been here,
this is probably the worst year I've seen.
At Rockport, where I'm standing, is about 100%. This year, it only got up to about 66% full at its highest level. Right now, though, all the way down there, it's at 39%, and that has everybody worried. And from the air, the scope of the issue becomes clear. Rockport Reservoir is at 39%, and it's not alone. Nearby Echo Reservoir is lower at 30. Jordanelle is doing a bit better at 69%. Recreating is an important part of Utah's DNA, and these low water levels will have an impact. But it's drinking and agricultural water that's the biggest concern.
Because we don't know what next winter is going to bring. It could fill the reservoir back up, or we could be in worse conditions.
We are ignoring all the water that gets wasted.
Zach Frankel from the Utah Rivers Council has made it his life's work to study this issue. And what he has found is if previous water conservation bills were passed, this issue could have been avoided.
These dozen water conservation bills could have saved 1.5 million acre feet had they passed. And that's the equivalent of 5 years of the annual water use in the Salt Lake Valley.
So what can be done?
We need to get serious, because when we mismanage our water supply like Utah water leaders have been doing, we're going to have to raise water rates again and again and again and again.
And with lots of Utah's infrastructure relying on water, these reservoirs are an important resource to protect.
We need to make sure that we pass on this current legacy of fish and wildlife species to future generations of Utahns.
Officials are also saying as the lake level drops, the surface area shrinks, which means you'll have less space to boat if you are coming out here this summer. So be extra cautious of those around you. At Rockport Reservoir State Park, Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Now, the state parks has just launched a new website to talk about boat ramps. The site separates them into 3 categories: open, from when everything is normal; advisory, meaning that the water level may be too low for some SUVs or boats; and then closed because the ramp doesn't extend low enough.
At Rockport right now, you have to back in. Our ramp has changed pitch, so you have to back in further, which means your front tires are going to get wet. We just ask if you need help, ask help. A lot of boaters will help each other.
We do have a link to that new website on ours if you go to fox13now.com.
States relying on the Colorado River system for much of their water are bracing for declarations of shortage in the near future. Such a declaration would be unprecedented. Fox 13's Max Roth takes an in-depth look at where things stand.
Remember, the Colorado River system includes Flaming Gorge and Lake Powell, as well as water that we divert before it gets to those big rivers. So this is crucial to Utah, and a shortage is all but inevitable.
This was the wake-up call. A federal projection: Lake Powell will fall below 3,525 feet in elevation around March 2022. The federal government pointing to an agreement saying that's when states with reservoirs upstream have to start sending water to Lake Powell. Lake Mead, the other mega reservoir in the system, is already there. An official declaration expected in August. The reservoirs have propped up a system with a clear flaw. The U.S. states and Mexico have parceled out rights to 16.5 million acre-feet of water per year. The river has carried about 13 million acre-feet a year this century. The overall system sits at 40% of its capacity. Starting upstream, Blue Mesa Reservoir on the Colorado River in Colorado can hold 830,000 acre-feet of water, but it is at 384,000 now, 46% full. Navajo Reservoir in New Mexico and Colorado is on the San Juan River. It's at 65% of its 1.7 million acre-foot capacity. Flaming Gorge in Utah and Wyoming is at 83% of its 3.7 million acre-foot capacity. But those three reservoirs together are small compared to one of the big two. Lake Powell can hold over 24 million acre-feet of water, though right now it has about 8 million, 34% of its capacity. And Lake Mead's capacity of 26 million acre-feet, they sit at 9 million. 35%.
The agreement governing all of this, the Colorado River Compact of 1922, expires in 2026. The states in the lower basin, Arizona, Nevada, and California, have been using their whole allotments. The states above, including Utah, have not. It is going to be a tough fight between them, with Utah being in a particularly tough spot defending its proposal to pipe water from Lake Powell to southwestern Utah. In the newsroom, Max Roth, Fox 13 News, Utah.
One major Utah company is giving back in a big way today. How Nu Skin is making a big difference in the lives of children in need.
And I'm tracking another heat wave today. Record high temperatures here across a lot of the state, and it's only going to get hotter heading into tomorrow. We're back in 60 seconds.
Welcome back, everyone. Cleanup continues right now at a Little Caesars in Sandy after a car crashed into the store today. Police say someone trying to park right in front of the store missed their parking brake pedal and hit the gas instead. That sent the car through the front window. Luckily, no one was seriously hurt, just some neck pain and cuts from broken glass. Police say the driver was not under the influence. Damage to the building is mainly cosmetic. You see it here, but an engineer is coming to double check the structure.
A driver is lucky to be alive after a crash involving a semi in Salt Lake City. The Utah Highway Patrol says a car driving north on I-15 near the I-80 westbound split crashed into a stopped semi this morning. Troopers say the driver of the car did not notice other cars that were also stopped for the semi and swerved into that semi. The car went under the semi-trailer. The woman in the car managed to escape with only minor injuries. The semi-driver was not hurt.
Now to an update on a story we brought you as breaking news last night on Fox 13 News at 9. Unified Police have identified the man shot and killed in Kearns as 23-year-old Fernando Amaya Higardia. Officers say two teens shot him when they came to a stop at the traffic light near 56 South and 55 West. Police say both shooting suspects, aged 16 and 17, were later arrested in connection with the deadly shooting. Investigators say this was likely a targeted attack.
We're learning more about an explosion in Layton that put a man in the hospital. Investigators with the Davis County Sheriff's Office say the explosion appears to have been caused by an accidental stray spark from welding. Police responded to the explosion on South Lisa Drive near Naylor Street yesterday afternoon. A 77-year-old man was taken to the hospital in serious condition. He is expected to survive. No one else was hurt.
We're taking you to Salt Lake City's newest park to show you what they uncovered.
RSL plays tonight. We'll have a match preview coming up in sports. And the Suns take game 1 of the NBA Finals. What makes this team so good? Chris Paul will tell us coming up.
So glad you can join us for Fox 13 News Live at 5. Meteorologist Allison Krogan will have your scorching first alert forecast coming up in just a few minutes. It is so hot outside. Understatement.
That's right. Well, after 6 years of planning and hard work, Salt Lake City leaders are celebrating the opening of a new park in the Glendale neighborhood.
Fox 13's Lexi Johnson has a look at that new park.
An area once covered in concrete, old cars and trash, now looks like this. Creeks, plants, and a bridge now cover the area of 1300 South and 900 West, known as Three Creeks Confluence Park.
The idea sold itself.
The idea originally came from college students looking to create a green space and connect people with nature, an idea local leaders were on board with.
Primary purpose of the park is uncovering the 3 streams that we see behind us, Parley's, Immigration, and Red Butte Creek, and the location where they enter the Jordan River.
As all 3 streams meet here, park developers uncovered 200 feet of water, as well as added a 120-foot-long bridge connecting to the Jordan Parkway Trail during construction, as well as adding boat ramps and public art.
The Jordan River is often hidden from people. You know, if you're on the Parkway Trail, you often can't see the Jordan River. And so this project allows people to get down close to the river, throw rocks in the river, you know, come and have a picnic and actually enjoy the river in a way that hasn't been done in the past.
It's the first park to open in the city in 5 years, and a place where neighbors can come and relax.
The Jordan River is Salt Lake City's Riverwalk, and Three Creeks Park is the next place, among others, where you can stop and pause and look around and forget that you're in a city.
A celebration of the park will be held this Friday from 5 to 9 p.m. where all are encouraged to come check out the new space. In Salt Lake, Lexi Johnson, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Utah is in dire need of foster families. One agency is providing monthly trainings for families to help alleviate that shortage. Open Arms Youth and Adult Services works with the Utah Division of Child and Family Services to help match children with a loving foster family. This morning, they held a monthly training for current and prospective families. The group's executive director says it's meant to help families learn what to expect from the program.
We could never have enough, and the reasons why I say that is because we too are looking for wonderful, loving, kind homes.
For more information about how to foster a child, go to fox13now.com.
Today, Nu Skin celebrated its day of service with a big event in support of at-risk and special needs children. More than 1,200 Nu Skin employees, along with their families, teamed up with the Utah County Boys and Girls Club of America, United Way's Franklin Community Center, the Elizabeth Smart Foundation, and the Culture City to make items for children. They filled backpacks with books and learning material, flashcards for second language learners, trauma and sensory kits, as well as blankets.
At the end of the day, we will have helped about 4,000 kids in underserved populations with 2,000 different items that will help them, and our whole workforce gets to put our regular work on hold to be a force for good in the community today.
Nu Skin employees around the world will also celebrate Force for Good Day in the coming months by donating to food drives for single-parent families, taking part in community cleanups, and running to raise money for local charities. Well, if you've never been to Spring City, Utah, you might be missing out on a very unique small-town experience.
Horseshoe Mountain Pottery is a one-man shop. Joe Benyon and his wife fell in love with Spring City while they were on their honeymoon more than 40 years ago.
We found this little town and we looked at it and we said, this is it. This is the spot. This is where we're going to be. We're going to spend our lives here.
Coming up tonight on Fox 13 News at 9, the story of a man who says he spent his life playing as much as working. It's our latest installment of Uniquely Utah, only tonight on Fox 13 News at 9.
If you could play as much as you work, you're living a happy life.
yeah, there's a
Wouldn't you
happy-
say? I can't wait to see that small town quaint story tonight.
It's going to be fun.
Nobody's immune from the heat in Utah today, Allison.
No, all of us have it. Today's temperature here in Salt Lake City has made it to 104. That beats our old record of 103. So you're not crazy. It's definitely hot out there, and it's well above average. A normal high this time of year, 92 degrees. So we're still at that record temperature here in Salt Lake, sitting at 104. Tooele, 100 degrees right now. Ogden, 103. So we're going to have several records here across the state. Park City, even up into the 90s, mid-90s for Price and Vernal. St. George, 111. So putting things into perspective, it's a little bit hotter than it is here in Salt Lake City, down into Phoenix, but it's actually hotter in St. George right now than it is currently in Phoenix. East Coast, very comfortable temperatures. Boston, New York, 70s, 80s, and 90s along the eastern part of the country. Even down to Miami, it's 84 degrees right now. So Salt Lake, one of the hottest places in the country currently. And as you wake up tomorrow morning here along the Wasatch Front, it's going to be hot even by 8 a.m. We're into the 80s, and by 10 a.m. close to 90 degrees. Air quality will continue to be a problem, just like today, just like yesterday. For Thursday and Friday, it's going to be the orange level, which is unhealthy for sensitive groups, and mandatory action. So if your work is giving you the opportunity to work from home to help the summer ozone, it would be a good idea the next few days to do so. Satellite and radar pretty dry here across the region. Main problems will be the fire weather forecast for Thursday and Friday and this heat wave. So fire weather forecast for tomorrow afternoon, we're going to see some elevated fire concerns. And then on Friday, we're going to continue with the elevated fire concerns for much of the state, especially northern Utah. As this heat wave really ramps up over the next couple of days, we're going to keep that high pressure impacting the region through early next week. And then we might see that ridge flattening a little bit by the middle of next week, but we're going to end up with very hot temperatures for at least the next 10 days. So through the beginning of next weekend at the very least. Overnight temperatures about 70 to 80. Highs tomorrow will be close to 105. By 5 p.m., 103 in Salt Lake, St. George close to 110 tomorrow, and we'll keep things fairly dry. A few sprinkles here and there, some isolated showers, but by and large, we're going to have a very dry 7-day forecast. St. George, you're close to 110 to 115 through the weekend, and then next week, you're still close to 100 to 110. And for the Wasatch Front, 104 tomorrow, 101 for Friday, and we'll keep those temperatures close to 105 through Monday next week. And then just worth noting, July and August are our hottest months, so there will be more heat to come in the coming months.
Real Salt Lake plays at Rio Tinto Stadium tonight, but they'll be the visiting team when they take on Vancouver. Originally scheduled to be played in Vancouver, but due to the coronavirus, the Whitecaps have been playing their home games this season at the Riot. So tonight's match will technically be a road match for RSL. Fox 13's Morgan Vance has more.
Yeah, Jeff, this is unprecedented. The oddities of the time in which we live, giving an extra home game to Real Salt Lake. But even though that's technically not the case, they'll take it for a midweek match that they desperately need. Then again, Vancouver is used to playing at the Riot. They are 2-3-0 so far in Sandy, including a 3-1 loss to RSL just a few weeks ago. That was Real's last victory. The club going 0-2-1 since, and dropping to 9th in the West. The Claret and Cobalt have 2 wins, 2 losses, and 3 ties so far at home this season. And Freddie Juarez believes home field advantage might not exist tonight against the Whitecaps.
Anytime you play Vancouver, you see you play against a team that does not stop fighting. If you watch their game against Dallas, it's a perfect example. Going against a very good Dallas team and scrapping every minute of it. Going to Seattle, I watched the video against Seattle, and they created so much havoc for Seattle. This is a very good team, and so we got to take it as that we're playing another top team in the league. And then also our mentality is we're playing at home because we are playing at home. There's no ifs or what's about it. It's in our stadium, so we got to come out looking to win the game.
On an interesting side note, none of RSL's last 15 matches against Vancouver have ended in a draw. You have to go all the way back to 2014 to find one. Tonight's kick is a late one. It's an 8 o'clock start. From the Riot, Morgan Vance, Fox 13 Sports.
Well, Phoenix took game 1 of the NBA Finals last night, a 13-point win over Milwaukee. 36-year-old Chris Paul led the way for the Suns, 32 points in his NBA Finals debut. This is his 5th team in his 16 NBA season, and he's now just 3 wins away from an NBA title.
we have a real team, like a team where you can't just key on one guy or two guys. Everybody on our team is capable of having a big game, and everybody is comfortable and accept their roles. Yeah, and I think I'm prepared as far as my body, all the different types of stuff, and mentally. You know, I might not have been able to receive this earlier in my career. Who would know? I'm grateful, like I said, for where we are right now.
It's amazing what he's doing at 36 years old. Remember, the Jazz picked Darren Williams 154.
Yes.
I
Chris
remember,
Paul,
yeah.
long time ago. So
Yeah.
the Suns looked good last night.
You know, 36 is sounding younger and younger to me still.
That's true.
Right?
You're giving
He's a kid.
You're giving information away here, Ms.
That's
Chapman.
right. Thanks, Jeff.
We'll be right back.
Close to 110 to 115 in St. George through the weekend, and a very hot extended forecast for Wasatch, Trent, Salt Lake City area. Close to 105 tomorrow, so maybe even hotter than today. And today we did set a record here in Salt Lake City as we also made it to 104.
Yeah, you got to make an effort to stay cool in these hot temperatures.
Yeah, that's tough. Dangerous heat out there.
Yeah.
Thanks for being with us this evening, everyone.
We'll see you tonight at 9.